Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the next video in the restoration of this Siemens Super G7. And in this video, which is quite a short one, you will see my obsessive side come in and understand why it sometimes drives me crazy. I went totally overboard when I tried to polish this the chassis. I told you I wanted to get things shiny. And so I started to do the cleanup and it never was enough. So I just went on and on and on. And at the end of it, it's a bit much. I am waiting for some boards for a little project that's part of an experiment that I want to do on this radio. Since I don't have the cabinet to restore, I can play around with it. But I wanted to show you what happens when obsession takes over restoration. Enjoy. But before I carry on, I want to thank the sponsors of this video, PCBWay. You'll find them at PCBWay.com. They're the people I go to for all the PCBs that I use on my projects. And I find that ordering PCBs from them is really, really simple. It's all basically automated. You put in your Gerber files, the quantity, the type, and so on, and it gives you a quote, and then you can order directly from there. Now, if you're trying to prototype a project, there's a lot of stuff you can do with them. You can order all sorts of PCB types depending on your needs, whether they're standard, advanced, rigid, flex, and so on. You can get them to actually assemble these things for you. And if you want to take your project to the next level, there's also CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication, and all these services that probably satisfy and far exceed any needs you may have. Next time you want to order PCB, whether it's from one of the projects that I suggest or your own or any of the others you find on the share section of the PCBWay website, go to PCBWay. I'm sure you'll find something for your needs. Well, she's looking pretty good. I decided to start with some of the cleanup and I came across a few little quirks. First of all, the knobs. They were kind of weird. Usually these radios have got a little nut along here and you tighten them onto the shaft, and I thought that's what we'd have here again. And in fact, from the top I could see this little ridge and I thought it was a screw from the back, but it's not. So I had a bit of thinking. This plate came off, this brass plate came off when I removed this, and I found that these guys actually just pull out and they sort of latch on with this sprung piece of metal. You can see that. And they're very, very difficult to remove. So what I had to do is put a little bit of WD-40 in there, let it soak, and then bring it out with 2 teaspoons. If you don't know the trick, you put one there, and you sort of bend it back. It applies force onto this without, well, hopefully not breaking anything else. So I managed to get those guys out. As I said, very unusual. The other thing that was pretty unusual was the dial glass was actually completely bonded, stuck to this metal piece over here. Now the front part, it's got a little plate on there, and you remove 2 screws and they come out, and then you normally just pull the glass off. Well, this had a strip of rubber. That rubber had become completely solidified, so I had to use the heat gun at the back and sort of melt it, put the X-Acto knife at the back there, and pull it out very carefully so you don't remove the paint from the back of the dial glass. So that was done. And then it was time to do some serious cleaning. And again, I reverted to my trusty airbrush compressor with the natural bristle brushes. Now what I do here is I use alcohol. This is 96% ethyl alcohol. You can use isopropyl. It's probably a little bit better, 99% if I'm not mistaken. And I then fill the airbrush cup with alcohol instead of paint, and I use it as if I was painting, so that as I spray, still got some in there, you can hear it, I will rub the area and spray off the dirt. And the advantage is that you actually remove the dirt. It flows down. You put a paper towel or something underneath, and the dirt actually flows off as you wash it. So you don't end up with a lot of grubby stuff that you have to wipe off. This is the best way that I've found. It's the best use I've ever had for one of these airbrush compressors, because with paint, I've never used it. So that's the result. Some cleaning of the knobs, again, with the brush. Spray it all off with the airbrush compressor and then clean it up. In fact, what you can do is when you finish rinsing off the dirt with the airbrush compressor, you can let the alcohol run out and then just blow air on it. So you not only wash it off, but you can dry it as well. It does make for a very, very clean result. This thing looked atrocious before I started. But that is just a small part of it, because on top, there's a lot of cleaning to do. I mean, look at this guy. That's going to take quite a bit of brushing away. That's all got to be cleaned up. This part here doesn't look too difficult. In fact, I've started cleaning some of that part over there. But of course, there is dirt over here. And I do want to polish these covers, just like I did with the FM front end. I want this finish on those, because as I said, this thing might be on show. I may well leave the chassis exposed through some kind of acrylic panel or something, and you'll be able to look inside. I think it'll make an interesting result. But these guys, I want to have them really nice and polished. I got some serious cleaning and fixing of this to do. And again, if this is going to be on display, this thing's got to be perfect. So my work's cut out for me. See you in a while. I said I wanted to make this thing shine, but I think I got a bit carried away, don't you think? I ended up getting rather annoyed with the pitting marks on the steel. So I started going down to the, to the flat metal. So this thing now reminds me of that Hughes H-1 Racer airplane that's all steel and mirror finish. But at least it matches the FM front end, right? And this I'm particularly proud about. I managed to get rid of all the dirt on there. What I actually did is I removed this, put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, then rinsed it with alcohol, then with some WD-40, and then rinsed it again with alcohol, lubricated it, and then I matched some of the grey paint that I've got to touch up, just touch up. I didn't paint the whole thing, but I touched up the spots on it that needed it. And this thing looks bloody brilliant. I love it. And look at the spaghetti. There is one thing I'm going to change. I'm a little bit obsessive, as you might have noticed. This white wire, I'm going to replace it with yellow wire. There's a part of me that just can't accept that mismatch. It's been driving me crazy. Yeah, much better. Now I can relax. Being a bit obsessive can be annoying. The ferrite antenna's also got a full cleanup. And the stand as well. I removed all that and polished it. Our filter capacitor is now sticking proud. There's no writing on it, obviously, because it all sort of washed off. And look at those guys. They look great. I love it. I love it. I think if I do go ahead and put this under an acrylic case, it's going to look brilliant. It's going to look really, really different. And of course, the front is all cleaned up. I've cleaned up and polished the knobs on both sides. Obviously, the dial glass has still got to go in. But I wanted to leave it like this so that I make any adjustments I need to on the dial pointers. Now, getting this polish done is pretty tough work. It takes some scrubbing, quite a bit of scrubbing, and I use wet and dry sandpaper, 800 to 1000 grit, and I use isopropyl alcohol instead of water because I don't want to short anything out. And you just keep scrubbing and cleaning, scrubbing and cleaning. And once I finished all that, then I used the airbrush compressor to rinse everything out. And then I gave it a very fine coat of WD-40, also sprayed from the airbrush compressor. And that just will give it a bit of protection against corrosion. I'm not sure if I've just created a corrosion magnet, a rust magnet. I don't think so. I don't know what kind of steel this is, but I'll keep an eye on it. I haven't sprayed it with clear lacquer, which I probably should do, perhaps. We'll see how it goes. So we've got everything working again. Shortwave. There's our medium wave. Long wave we won't get much. And of course FM is where it really shines. With my favorite station up here being picked up perfectly. Right, what am I doing next? Well, I'm not going any further today because I'm waiting for some parts, namely PCBs, for a new little project that is an experiment that I'll be trying on this radio. I'll be doing two things on here. One is I want to add shortwave fine-tuning, which should be quite easy here because I've got, in this particular case, this really handy antenna direction finder, which can be used to turn the pot on the shortwave fine-tuning circuit that I presented a few videos ago. But I'm also working on something else that I'm experimenting with. It's a BFO. It's rather different. It's wireless. I mean, this sounds corny, but yeah, it's wireless. It's going to be radiated into the radio to try and decode amateur band signals, SSB signals. And that's only going to make sense if I've got shortwave fine tuning so that I can tune properly into the amateur bands, the 14 megahertz, 14.1 and the 7.1 megahertz. Hopefully I'll be able to tune very finely to any amateur band transmissions on SSB that we pick up there. And if I can do that, then I can use this BFO, the boards for which are on their way, and perhaps be able to decode SSB without having to do anything to a radio. Now, the idea is to use it on any radio without having to go into the circuitry to inject the BFO signal. So yeah, that should be fun. But it does mean that there's not much more I can do right now. Obviously, I've got no cabinet to restore, thankfully. So after presenting this shining example of obsessive compulsive disorder on my part, man, I really did go to town on this. I'll sign off for now and see you very, very soon. So I do hope you've enjoyed this rather short video. And if you have, click like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. And if you want to support the channel directly, you can do so on Patreon, PayPal. Links are in the description below. So once again, thanks for watching. Bye for now, and most of all, stay sane.